service kind of worker. Short of it is, he got Northeastern to pay for my LSAT study class and for me to sit and take the LSAT. I come from a pretty poor background, single mom who worked 3 jobs, and I paid for college and all of that on my own. And the short of that is I ultimately became a criminal defense attorney, which may seem very strange that I would become somebody who advocates for people who often victimize other people. But I'm figuring that out. And so I had a wonderful career for a very long time. Somewhere in there, I ended up collapsing with a heart issue. And I became paralyzed in my right arm for about 11 to 14 months. And I suffered a mild brain injury. It affects my executive functioning. It kind of has made me have symptoms that are sort of like ADHD, which I clearly never had before. I was a pretty high-powered felony murder attorney. I did the Reggie Lewis appeal. People out who are outside of Massachusetts maybe don't know who Reggie Lewis was, but Reggie Lewis was a great Celtics player who collapsed and died with a congenital heart issue, and his family sued. And I ended up doing the appeal for the estate of Reggie Lewis. And that brought me some notoriety. Interestingly, I also became to have like a little niche practice where I represented people who had been charged with a crime, but had mental health issues. The competency, not competency. So I was successful in 3 different not guilty by reason of insanity cases, which is a very hard defense. But I really enjoyed that part of my practice. There's one thing to commit crime, because that's a choice. If you have schizophrenia, or your ability to control that and to conform to society is less. And I have great compassion for mental health people who get just sort of tied up in the criminal justice system. It's a revolving door. So I stopped practicing law. I went and came back to practicing law. And I don't even know if you know this, Rachel, but an allegation was made against me that I overcharged a client. Even though I have an email where I quoted him that it would be about $60,000 and the bill was $57,900. I made mistakes on the bill, but they were mostly in his favor. And credited him throughout and gave him discounts throughout. But the bottom line is that I made a choice at the time. I did not do anything purposely to hurt this person. In fact, I got them a fantastic result in the case. And I had reduced, before any accusation, his bill by $7,000. So I don't know anybody that reduces a bill.
That was very kind of you.
Right? Try to, and then in the end, want to take money. But because of my health issues and because of being in ICU for 20 days and the paralysis and all of that, I had to make a mental health choice. And so that's why I find it important to speak to you and let the people who listen to you know, trauma can come not from a physical attack. That I sat and was cross-examined for 14 hours over 3 days. That a woman who was prosecuting the case got up and said, I don't know what kind of person she is. I don't even know what that means. And I don't know. I know a lot of people, women with PTSD, who seem very successful on the outside, but they're still a little scared girl inside there who wants to please everybody and be okay. And because I wasn't okay, I decided to do, I signed this document that I agreed to certain facts. And I agreed that given that presentation, they could find that I did that. The standard is some credible evidence. It's not like beyond a reasonable doubt. It's not even 51%. It is some credible evidence. I decided to sign it and take my suspension. That caused me, I lost all of my finances. I was doing very well as an attorney. I lost my home. I sold my car so I could keep my kid in college. I'm very fortunate to have a partner who is financially stable, who is helping me. And that's the first time in my life I ever asked for help. I was the one helping everybody else, right? And that, the loss of all that, I mean, I think if before that happened, if you had asked me who I am, I would have said, oh, well, I'm an attorney. And I had to find out who I was outside of being an attorney. I'm actually grateful for all of it, for the health issue, for the suspension, which is now over. It's been over since November. Because I don't think I would have taken the time to heal myself, heal stuff all the way back from like childhood trauma that the world said, stop, right? I couldn't say no. I couldn't brush my own hair or brush my own teeth, right? I had nothing but time. And I am grateful for it now because I think I can now say, despite all that trauma, I actually like myself better than I ever did before. I handle when traumatic situations come up better than I ever handled them before. And all of that has sort of pushed me into I guess it would be my third act, right? So being a performer was the first one, being an attorney, the second one. And now I am working as a writer on a particular project. Yes. That I'm sure Rachel will have me back to,
yes, I will.
to talk about. But suffice it to say, it's a unique approach to women who are successful, who are smart, who are kind, but have PTSD. In a way that I hope it makes us all feel seen. I think for a lot of my life with PTSD, I didn't feel seen. And some of it is my own fault because I didn't want anyone to know. I mean, no one in 27 years of practice, except for a very, very few like coworkers that became friends, right? Women have any idea that I have post-traumatic stress disorder.